Tonight, asbestos fears grow. More schools added to the list of locations which may have received contaminated compost.
Rammed, intimidated, threatened at gunpoint. Terrified paramedics forced to divert from their urgent Bayside job.
The unnamed politician who turned traitor, selling out our country to foreign spies.
The lady vanishes, and now the coroner confirms Gold Coast teacher Marian Barter is dead, referring the mystery to homicide detectives.
The simple check that takes just 10 seconds to cut your next power bill.
And Broncos fans fill a charter plane bound for the season opener in Sin City.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sharyn, Ghidella and Max Futcher.
Good evening. 2 more schools have been added to a growing list of locations which may have received soil and mulch contaminated with asbestos.
Tonight, authorities are still scrambling to work out how the stockpile became tainted.
Greenbank, Corinda, Callum Vale and Rosewood, 4 public places which received soil from New Grow Ipswich where asbestos was detected in a stockpile. These sites were already fenced off, under construction, inaccessible to students, staff and the public.
We've attended each of those schools, so St Aidan's yesterday and then these 2 schools today. We have been taking samples.
Investigations into how the stockpile at New Grow became contaminated continue. Potential sources include the land track facility next door or community green waste received through local councils.
We have inspected several council facilities as part of that, which have returned negative results.
It's now known the soil is high in moisture and used outdoors under turf or mulch, giving authorities confidence.
Based on extremely low level of contamination that we've seen and the huge stockpile and the method of use, the risk is clearly low for public health.
The list of businesses New Grow sent materials to this month is growing. Most are landscaping, civil works or haulage companies now prohibited from moving on the soil.
One of the things we want to do is understand the level of contamination.
Authorities are continuing work to identify which locations received compost from the contaminated stockpile and are waiting for test results.
Those tests will help them decide what to do about it. The best option may be to leave it in the soil.
And Rosanna Kingson joins us now. And Rosie, results have come back for 18 of the original 23 sites tested by authorities.
And Sharyn, so far the only positive result has been from the New Grow facility. More results are expected tomorrow, but further testing from New Grow won't be ready until next week. Workers or residents who are concerned they've come into contact with contaminated soil can call the pollution hotline. Brisbane and Ipswich councils today told 7 News there are controls in place to identify suspected asbestos at resource centres. But Sharyn, there is no specific requirement for councils to test that green waste.
All right, Rosie, thank you. Paramedics on the way to a critical emergency were forced to flee to a police station after being terrorised on the road. Officers say the ambulance was chased by a stolen car before it's thought a gun was pulled on them.
While responding to a call for help, police say 2 paramedics needed help themselves.
This senseless act of aggression.
Around 6:40, an ambulance was racing with lights and sirens to a Code 1 job. An elderly woman collapsed and unconscious. It's alleged a stolen Toyota Kluger swerved toward and tried to race the ambulance in Capalaba. Paramedics told police they were blinded by a laser pointer.
They allegedly believe they saw a firearm.
Radioing back to base with fears for their safety, the 2 experienced female paramedics were forced to abandon the emergency and seek help at a police station.
It's pretty crazy. It shouldn't be happening.
An incident like this has left them quite shaken.
Another ambulance sent to the patient, still waiting for critical care.
Been no negative detriment to that patient.
It was here along Priestdale Road and nearby Rochdale South. Police caught up with the duo allegedly responsible. A 34-year-old man who officers say drove the car is also accused of injuring a police dog during the arrest.
Fitzgerald Hopkins charged with dangerous operation and unlawful use of a motor vehicle, remanded in custody until tomorrow. The alleged passenger, a 29-year-old woman, will face court in March.
This could have been, your elderly grandmother, your mother, your family members. We have to make sure that our paramedics can do their job.
Sally Guide, 7 News.
Australia's top spy boss is under intense pressure to name a former politician who he says sold out the country by selling secrets to foreign spies. Speculation is rife as to who that person is. and why they haven't been charged.
The head of ASIO will be gritting his teeth tonight over this reaction.
Well, it's outrageous. That besmirches everyone that is serving in politics or has served in politics. I mean, it is simply unacceptable.
Leading a chorus of serving and former MPs demanding ASIO boss Mike Burgess name the former politician he's revealed was compromised by foreign agents.
This politician sold out their country, party, former colleagues to advance the interests of a foreign regime.
A traitor in the ranks recruited by a spy network.
We'll call them the A-Team.
Trawling professional networking sites for people with security clearances, contacting them using common names.
Sophie, Amy, Ben and Eric.
Offering rich consultancy fees for secrets. The former politician
even proposed bringing a Prime Minister's family member into the spy's orbit.
Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's son Alex revealing Chinese agents tried to bribe him in 2017. He refused and reported them to authorities. But opposition leader Peter Dutton pointing the finger at Labor.
That'd be where I put my money.
The other question being asked inside here tonight, if ASIO knew this former MP was a traitor, why haven't they been charged and thrown into jail?
Why should a politician who's betrayed their country be able to sit fat, dumb and happy in their house enjoying the fruits of their labour?
Well, they won't face any legal consequences, and I think that is a regret.
Won't, he says, because foreign interference laws weren't in place then, and the laws of treason that were weak. And Mike Burgess says the historic matter's now been dealt with and the person no longer a threat. And a new controversy erupting here tonight after another freed foreign detainee was arrested yesterday and charged with sexual assault and stalking in Melbourne. But moments ago, those charges were sensationally withdrawn, the police admitting they'd arrested the wrong man, but not before the opposition had launched a full frontal assault on Immigration Minister Andrew Giles, demanding he resign.
Prime Minister, the Immigration Minister is a disaster. His decisions have put Australians at risk. Prime Minister, does the Minister for Immigration enjoy your full confidence?
Call to the Prime Minister.
Yes. Police are now looking for another man who 7 News understands is not a released detainee, leaving Peter Dutton with egg on his face as he and the Prime Minister head to Melbourne tomorrow to join the final day of campaigning in the crucial Dunkley by-election. Sharyn.
Mark Riley there in Canberra. We're learning more about the man and woman whose bodies were found inside a Ghidella home on Tuesday night. The pair has been identified as mother of four, Natasha Nabizi, and her husband, Habib Bayat. They were found dead by police who were called out for a welfare check. Detectives suspect domestic violence.
Fed-up victims of youth crime have rallied together in a desperate bid to find solutions. One Bayside resident even admitted to going on a high-speed chase after a teenager stole his work car.
Child hoons, brazen even in broad daylight. Natalie and Adam Cerrone's cameras capture it all.
Windows getting smashed, vandalism constantly, garage door kicked in, smashed windows in the house.
Jane Andrews was targeted at 2 o'clock this morning in Ormiston.
So they've taken my handbags from inside the house and my husband's car.
And yesterday at Victoria Point, children with hammers smashed through the back door of Foodworks for the second time in 2 weeks.
Very, very frustrated. I think there needs to be some sort of solution.
Fed up Bayside victims held an urgent meeting last night.
The government's not listening. There needs to be a penalty or punishment there that acts as a deterrent.
In 2021, Russell's son Matthew and his partner Kate, as well as their unborn son Miles, were killed, struck by a stolen car, a teenager behind the wheel. He joined Voice for Victims Ben Cannon.
Bad choices are bad choices, and you have to own them.
Hearing stories of vigilante action.
My car got stolen. I pursued these kids.
And terror.
I went into shock. I went into hospital.
We still haven't heard anything from the Premier.
The Premier was at a public meeting in Cairns where youth crime is spiralling too.
We get better results if we can intervene before they become violent repeat offenders.
While there were no announcements last night, the government says it's still considering fresh calls to strengthen police powers to carry out weapons searches and increasing the use of ankle bracelets for offenders on bail.
It's all being ignored because it's all money.
and we're people and we pay for it.
And with an election near, the government could pay for it too. Rachel Baxter, 7 News.
Her alleged murder broke the hearts of Queenslanders. Now family and friends of Ipswich grandmother Violene White have finally been able to say goodbye. In a moving service, Violene's eldest daughter vowed her mother's death will not be in vain.
A great-grandmother who lived for her family.
Nothing can ever replace her.
Violene White today farewelled by those who loved her most, almost a month since her senseless death.
I feel robbed. The family and friends feel robbed. We were supposed to grow old together.
Caring, compassionate, kind-hearted, saying goodbye near impossible.
I cannot grasp the senselessness of this.
Violene also lived for her church. She gave to those in need, her love for others unconditional.
Violene's love language was prayer. She lived it. She breathed it.
Her family asked Violene not be remembered for the horrific way she died.
We want her to be remembered of her legacy of her life.
A life that touched so many, her death moving strangers far and wide.
I've had people, messaging from all over the world.
Violene's husband Victor, who is blind, today giving in to his grief after staying strong since his wife's death for his 3 daughters Cindy, Denise and Julie. Violene always told family that if she died, no one would care. Well, today family said that she was a history maker and that Violene's legacy should be one of powerful and wide-reaching change.
This will not be in vain. We are taking this more to the next level than not just that level, but we're going up and we're going to get justice for this.
Their campaign for major youth justice reform has only just begun.
Nothing will stop us until that happens. This is how we want Mum remembered, the legacy of change, not the legacy of death.
Steve Hart, 7 News.
Police have busted a boiler room investment scam on the Gold Coast. Jordan Quinn, more than 300 people fell victim.
Sharyn, they were fleeced out of more than $3 million. Officers say the elaborate scheme was set up back in 2018, operating out of 5 offices on the Gold Coast. It's alleged victims were cold called and sold share trading software for almost $15,000. The program was designed to help investors make big profits, but police say it didn't actually work. There were multiple raids in 2020, and since then police have been building this case. But last month, 5 arrests were made. 3 men and 2 women are facing charges of fraud and money laundering. They'll all face court next month.
Jordan Quinn on the Gold Coast. There are new details on the death of Jesse Baird, with friends claiming his car had been vandalised and sabotaged before he died. The revelations came as they paid tribute to the former Brisbane TV reporter and his partner.
Jesse Baird loved Coogee Beach, would have loved this day.
We stood there on the beach and we screamed out his name in his honour because that's who Jesse was. He was bold, he was loud, he was happy, he was fun.
And that heightens the profound sense of loss.
Not a lot in life ever got Jesse down.
But something did in the last few weeks of his vibrant, short life.
He said that there had been something not so pleasant going on in his private life.
Some odd things were happening to Jesse over, the period that him and Beau were involved. They weren't in a relationship together.
Police allege Beau Lamar Condon was infatuated with the Channel 10 reporter. Jesse's car had been vandalised and sabotaged.
Jesse couldn't come to see me because mysteriously water came into his car engine and in his fuel.
When behaviours appear to be escalating, we have physical interactions, harm to property, that those are certainly indicators that things could get more serious.
Investigators believe the accused murderer used bullets stolen from a shooting range to avoid suspicion if some were missing from work. The Qantas float in Saturday night's Mardi Gras parade will bear the name of flight attendant Luke Davies. Other tributes are also expected for Jesse.
This man was full of life. He walked into a room and he would just be smiling.
You simply cannot underestimate how deeply the force has felt this. A senior detective tells us the collective effort to find the bodies is something he has never seen before, and not just for the sake of justice, but to show the world what one of their own allegedly did is not who they are. Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Australia's latest contribution to the fight against Houthi rebels in the Red Sea turns out to be just half a dozen ADF specialists. Announced as support for strike action, the 6 extra staff will help plan operations.
Listing sinking. The British container ship the Rubimar, the most damaging strike yet from Houthi rebels in the Red Sea waterway that handles 12% of the world's trade. This morning, Defence Minister Richard Marles hitting every breakfast TV show to announce Australia was stepping up its contribution.
In breaking news, more Australian troops will be deployed to the Middle East.
Our total offering? 6 more personnel.
A very important contribution that Australia can make.
For others, that was underwhelming.
I think we should have sent a warship, but we didn't.
Australia's contribution remains underweight.
At last count, the US is leading the Red Sea Alliance with 8 warships. India has 7, Italy 3, even Pakistan has 2. Insiders say the reality is we couldn't send one if we wanted to. 8 frigates, but only enough personnel to crew 5 of them. Just last week, the government announced a major overhaul of the Navy's future operations, expanding the surface fleet from 11 to 26 warships, but admitting it would be years before any new vessels were operational.
A larger Navy with more capability, which is good, but it's going to take too long to get there.
As for the Houthis, a possible own goal with a 19-kilometre oil slick and 41,000 tonnes of fertiliser dumped offshore. Chris Reason, 7 News.
The Broncos Vegas invasion is almost complete, with a chartered plane load of fans halfway across the Pacific tonight. Alissa Smith's already on the glitter strip. Alissa, these supporters will beat the team there.
Only by a few hours, Max. While the team was having their final tune-up in California, die-hard fans were checking in at Brisbane Airport for a trip of a lifetime. The flight included Queensland Rugby League legends and the Broncos' #1 fan. Welcome to Broncos Air.
Go Broncos! Go Broncos!
From Bris Vegas to Las Vegas, fans in all colours greeted by maroon royalty. Most have been planning since last August's announcement.
We've been to Vegas before, seen the Grand Canyon. We've helicoptered in, helicoptered out, but this is going to be even better.
Member for a long time. Steve's a Tigers supporter, so he's roped into this trip.
Steve wasn't the only one that needed convincing.
Only way I could get him to go to Las Vegas is to dangle Adam Reynolds at the other end.
For others, a no-brainer.
Oh, well, mate, I think we're all Aussies, mate. We're going over there for a reason, and yes, we will be playing up on the strip.
Toowoomba's Michael Greenkey could be bravest of the lot.
The Broncos fans don't bother me. I don't bother them.
And there's no bigger Broncos fan than Dean Clifford. 7 News viewers met the Cotton Wool Kid running the Olympic torch, Kingaroy 2000. The first and only time he's missed a Broncos home game. There's no way Dean was missing this.
I think it'll work really, really good. A lot of fans are super excited, so I can't wait to walk around Vegas and see all the people wearing their jerseys.
Neither can the players.
Just soak it all up, to be honest, being in Vegas and seeing all the Aussies over there. I know there's plenty of them waiting for us to get there.
Kevy just drilling in our ear just to, when we go Vegas, just to win. So even if you go casino, win that too. Yeah.
3 more sleeps until they roll the dice. In Las Vegas, Alissa Smith, 7 News.
She has just 1 day left as Queensland's Police Commissioner. Coming up, our exclusive sit-down with Katarina Carroll, her message to critics.
Prince Harry loses a court battle over his family's security.
The fiery end to a joyride in a stolen car.
And the Simple Check guaranteed to cut your power bills.
The day of reckoning in a 26-year-old mystery. What happened to Gold Coast teacher Marian Barter? First the hit podcast, The Lady Vanishes. Now, the coroner's verdict. Plus, one of the biggest studies into sleep, adults and children. The 20-minute secret to a better night. 7 News, coming up.
A Brisbane father has been sentenced to life in prison for murdering his estranged wife with a sledgehammer at their Narangba home in 2020. A jury found Sean Sturgis intended to kill Jacqueline Sturgis when he struck her from behind. After 2 failed trials, her father says the sentence brings closure.
Very sad about my daughter's death, but very happy about the outcome today.
The 54-year-old will be eligible for parole after serving 20 years behind bars.
A luxury car stolen from the Gold Coast has been found dumped and torched in Logan Village. Police say the BMW was taken from Robina Parkway around 8 o'clock last night before it was found blazing on the side of Queens Creek Road around 3 a.m. Nobody has been charged.
Prince Harry has suffered a new legal blow, losing his court challenge to have royal-level security provided for him and his family in the UK. The decision also exposed the warnings Harry was given before he quit royal life.
Prince Harry's new video.
It is such a privilege to honour the immense courage and compassion.
Speaking on behalf of a UK charity from California. His trips to Britain rare after his right to automatic taxpayer-funded protection was stripped 4 years ago.
Short notice that security was going to be removed.
When the Sussexes quit royal life, Harry's lawyers claimed that was unlawful and unfair, concerned about threats from Al-Qaeda after the Duke revealed his Taliban kill count in his book Spare, and mindful of tragic incidents of the past. The UK government argued decisions on the Sussexes' security would be bespoke and made on a case-by-case basis because he isn't a full-time working member of the royal family. The court agreed. Despite this latest legal setback, the Duke has vowed to keep fighting, his lawyers saying he hopes to obtain justice from England's Court of Appeal as doubts are cast over future visits to the UK by Harry and his family. The Duke spent barely 24 hours in England to see his cancer-stricken father, with little prospect of a return soon. In London, Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
There's help tonight for Queenslanders to slash power bills. The simple 10-second check that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Don't miss that special report coming up soon.
Also, what happened to missing Gold Coast mum Marian Barter? The coroner's bombshell findings. Does her secret conman lover know more than he let on?
Jetstar's slick new look, what the makeover means for customers and prices.
The simple secret to a better night's sleep.
And the Southeast Brew crowned Australia's best beer.
A lengthy inquest has finally reached its conclusion into what happened to Marian Barter, the Gold Coast mum featured in the hit podcast The Lady Vanishes.
The teacher disappeared back in 1997, with her daughter searching for her ever since.
Sally Layden had the support of dozens of loved ones as a coroner today confirmed what she's known all along.
Coroner's just told me officially my mum's deceased. So that's the first time I've heard that in 27 years.
Her mother, Marian Barter, disappeared in 1997 after changing her name, selling her house and quitting her job. She'd been dating a man named Rick Bloom who lied about his identity. Today, Coroner Teresa O'Sullivan found the pair travelled to the UK, returning without telling Marian's family. She found Bloom preyed on vulnerable women and withheld crucial information about Marian from the inquest. She also found New South Wales Police bungled the missing persons investigation, recommending it now be referred to homicide detectives.
I haven't even had an apology, if I can put it out there. You know, I still haven't from the police had any apology for how I've been treated.
Today's findings mark the end of one fight and the beginning of another for Sally Layden. She's now determined to find out exactly how, when, where and why her mother died, and plans to fly overseas in her search for answers.
It just doesn't stop just because we got an answer today from the coroner.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
As she prepares to bid a final farewell to the Queensland Police Service tomorrow, Katarina Carroll has been reflecting on her time in the top job. This week I sat down with the outgoing Commissioner to discuss the highs and lows of her time in the role, including that recent criticism of her leadership.
For 41 years, Katarina Carroll has been serving her state, and failure was never an option. Crime fighter, helming G20, leading QFES. In 2019, she became the state's first female commissioner. Do you think your job has been more challenging than you anticipated it would have been?
Oh, Sharyn, I think the last 5 years have been the most challenging in our police history.
Pandemic, natural disasters, Weambilla, escalating domestic violence and youth crime, dissension within the ranks.
I always support the front line. They're the ones that work the hardest in this organisation.
So to put the focus back on police, she brought forward her resignation.
It's probably not as I would like to have left the organisation, but certainly in the last few weeks it made common sense to leave that way.
A highly decorated officer, Katerina Carroll has overseen many reforms, like better efficiencies for police attending domestic violence.
With the bureaucracy and the paperwork and the process, it's crippling for the front line.
Solving youth crime, though, a more complex issue.
Is it fixable, though? Can you fix youth crime?
You will not fix youth crime entirely, but if you intervene early and if you prevent, and then you respond well, you can make a massive difference.
But does the government need to get tougher? The courts need to be tougher on them.
I think everyone needs to play a part in this.
As the service's first female leader, she admits at times she's faced sexism, but being taken advantage of because she's a woman.
I would be bitterly disappointed if that was the case. I have mostly experienced great support from good people, irrespective of the fact that I'm a female.
The advice then for her replacement:
don't underestimate how difficult it is. It will be more difficult than you could even imagine, but enjoy it because you have a great organisation serving a great state.
Katerina Carroll leaves tomorrow not knowing what's next. Time with family, the top priority, and long walks with dog Echo.
The family dog will be very fit over the next few months.
Time out to reflect on an extraordinary life of service, keeping Queenslanders safe.
It'll be very hard to say goodbye to all your colleagues as you walk out.
It'll be very hard. This has been a big part of my life and I'll miss it very much.
US President Joe Biden has passed his annual health check. It found the 81-year-old is healthy, active and robust and remains fit for duty, with doctors identifying no new concerns.
I think I look too young. No, there is something.
But the president's opponents have been quick to point out it did not include a cognitive test. Calls for one are growing.
Jetstar is embarking on an image makeover, with the low-cost carrier unveiling slick new uniforms. The budget airline's boss says they've listened to customers as rival Virgin launches a sales blitz.
Out with the old, in with the new. At Jetstar, that means less orange, more blue. Australia's low-cost carrier going for high fashion change. New uniforms for the first time since it started flying 20 years ago.
Let's fly Jetstar!
Since then, Magda's moved on. Jetstar bosses claim the airline's reputation has too, but its most recent on-time performance has it behind Rex, Bonza and Qantas, ahead of Virgin.
There's always more work to do and we'll never rest on it. We'll always keep trying to improve it, but we do know December was really impacted by the cyclone in Cairns.
Work to do also on a gender pay gap twice as large as many others. Jetstar wants more female pilots and engineers.
I guess I could agree. I've noticed there's not many women, but I don't know why. It's a fabulous job.
The new kit was revealed at Melbourne's exclusive jet base, usually reserved for private planes and VIPs. Even more un-Jetstar-like, they put on food and drink.
We've got a dress. We haven't had a dress before. We've got knitwear. We haven't had knitwear before. It's, really been generated by what our people want to wear and feel proud wearing.
Virgin crew have overwhelmingly voted in favour of a new enterprise agreement, scoring an extra 6 days off each year, pay rises up to 18% over 3 years, and better overtime. And for customers, Virgin has a leap year sale, 200,000 airfares going for less than usual. Although sale flights are between very specific dates, the sale ends tonight. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
Helping southeast families in need. Coming up, the plan for more free supermarkets.
The crash landing that left balloon passengers stuck in a tree.
And from special birthdays to leap year weddings, how Queenslanders spent February 29th.
Tonight's edition of The Nightly is out now. Australia's only digital newspaper to drop nightly. And it's free. Delivered to your pocket every weeknight. Spend your night wisely. Free at thenightly.com.au.
9 thrill seekers have walked away from a rocky hot air balloon landing in Melbourne. The balloon was descending towards an empty block when a gust of wind pushed it into a tree. Emergency crews were called, but everyone on board escaped unharmed. The same can't be said for the hot air balloon. It's a milestone that manifests once every 4 years, keeping our calendar in sync with the sun and moon. For Brisbane mum Tamara van der Steen, this leap year is one she'll never forget.
Leaping into the world on a leap day. Little Hudson arrived just after 10 this morning, the newborn now known as a leapling.
Do you feel lucky?
Yeah, very lucky.
His birthday is rare, the odds 1 in 1,461.
It's different and it's quirky, I suppose, and it helps make you you.
In the delivery room, another leapling, midwife Jess Daly. She's 9 going on 36.
So I'm younger than my oldest child.
From newborns to nuptials today, dozens of couples decided to say, I do. A magical moment for these Harry Potter diehards with cloaks, wands, even a bouquet made from pages of the book.
It's fun. Like, what's a wedding if it's not supposed to be fun, right?
For some, tying the knot on February 29 is a way to keep their love low maintenance, avoiding the yearly anniversary scramble and only having to remember every 4.
We wanted to do something big every 4 years, and then in between we just, get a pizza or something.
Jodie's Leap Day birthday was all about taking a leap of faith. This moment, 4 years in the making, now to count down till 2028. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
A program which is providing a free supermarket to those in need has revealed plans to expand. 2 new permanent locations will open in Logan with free fresh fruit, vegetables and pantry staples. More than 25,000 people have visited the People's Market since the organisation's Logan Home site opened last year. Is it time to rethink your bedtime routine? The new device is unlocking the secrets to a perfect sleep. How they're helping Australians. That story is just ahead on 7 News.
But let's head back now to a city that never sleeps. Alissa's in Las Vegas with sport.
Thank you very much, Sharyn. Awaiting the Broncos to arrive. Hello again, everyone. When they do land, could Brisbane be set to gamble with a late switch of their history-making season opener? And more misery for Marnus as the Green Machine saves Australia across the ditch. Greetings from the glitter strip of Las Vegas, where the Broncos arrive tomorrow morning and they're set to pull an ace from their sleeve. Vowing to bash them up the middle, Brisbane are looking at a late selection switch and unleash an extra 243 games of power and experience on the Roosters. Throwing a curveball for the NRL's historic opener. 34-year-old test prop Marty Tapo'o trained with the main squad today in place of 11-gamer Xavier Willison.
Just experience. He's played for his country, New Zealand, and just having someone like that in your team is pretty good to have. So someone to lean on for some advice, especially like when it gets hard.
Hard is the only way Haas knows, something the Roosters have been for Brisbane in the past, winning 5 of their last 7 encounters.
We're ready for a bash up in the middle, and actually can't wait for it. So get to test ourselves against some of the best middles this weekend.
The 5-time Broncos Player of the Year will have plenty of help. The entire pack itching to fill the void left by Dolphins defector Tom Flegler.
I think we all got to step up, to be honest. We've got a good forward pack. We've got a pretty solid bench too, so no excuses.
And there won't be any excuses from Selwyn Cobbo.
I don't really get nervous. I guess I was more nervous at my 21st. My dad always told me play a footy game like just a normal game, and nerves doesn't kick in anymore.
Good advice ahead of making the giant switch from wing to centre.
It's a good challenge for me. I can't wait for this week, and I guess going up against Manu as well, and that'll be a long night for me, but I'm up for the challenge, yeah.
But not before a final night in Malibu Hills.
Who would ever think Sherbig Boy will be in LA, and it's been pretty good so far. It's a lot busier than Brizzy.
Wait till he gets to Vegas tomorrow. The Broncos will be the last team here, with the Roosters and Rabbitohs settling in tonight. The biggest bunny, Latrell Mitchell, spoke exclusively to 7 News, likening the atmosphere to grand final week.
South and the Roosters joined Manly in Sin City today, welcomed by Penrith's Tyson Pedro, a UFC fighter and Panthers tragic.
I know a lot of the boys already. I've actually danced on stage with Cookie at the Wiggles, so we're pretty close.
The type of atmosphere to bring out the best in a player who thrives on the big stage.
Feels like a magic round to me for or a grand final.
You're up and about for the game,
yeah,
aren't
I'm buzzing. I'm ready to go. I'm trying to keep a lid on it.
A lot of external talk and hype about it, but we got to stay focused and not sort of get caught up in the flashy lights.
Just to come here and people not really know who we are, it's good. So you just walk around and be yourself, and that's an eye-opener. It's humbling as well.
The NRL's sell to America is the sheer toughness of the competition. The hits are brutal, the game is fast, there's no pads
and no helmets.
Allegiant Stadium is now officially in rugby league mode. Lines marked on the $3 billion stadium's retractable grass field that slides into place on game day. In Las Vegas, Alissa Raps, 7 News.
The Lions are supposed to be battling the Swans tonight. Instead, they're battling a case of deja vu. Just minutes before their practice match was due to start, the lights went out at Blacktown, Sydney. It's reminiscent of the Gabba last March when the same thing happened against the Demons.
Just spoke to the AFL, so they're unsure what the problem is at this stage, so both teams have been asked to go back into the rooms and they'll just let us know in due course what's going on when play will resume, if it does resume.
As if it couldn't get worse, there was a snake on the grounds. Marnus Labuschagne failed to snap his form slump as Cameron Green rescued Australia on the opening day of the first test in Wellington. Sent in on a green top, the world champs lost 4 for 28 before the all-rounder scrapped his way to a second test century.
Golden boy Cameron Green rescues Australia.
There it is, punched away backward a point. That is 4, that is 100, his second in test matches.
2 test tons, plenty to celebrate, but the big all-rounders team first.
Obviously feels really good. I think mainly just for where we are with the team.
On a Wellington green top, brilliant black cap bowling put the tourists in the red. Steve Smith gone for 31.
Edge and take it, New Zealand have their first.
Opening partner Usman Khawaja followed for 33.
Oh, yes! What a ripper from Henry!
Marnus Labuschagne and Travis Head both undone for 1 each. The collapse costing Australia 4 for 28. Green counterpunched, going from 30 to 100 in just 46 balls. This unbeaten 103, his highest test score since being promoted to number 4, but Australia's 9 for 279, not enough.
Pretty close, I reckon they're probably just on top. They've got obviously a pretty quality batting lineup and we've got to bowl well tomorrow.
Nick Markham, 7 News.
Qualifying for the Olympics isn't enough for the Matildas, who know Paris is the last chance for their golden generation to taste major tournament success. In front of more than 54,000 fans at Marvel Stadium last night, Michelle Heyman made up for her 6-year international hiatus, scoring 4 of their 10 goals in an embarrassingly top-sided return leg against Uzbekistan.
A lot of people told me that I couldn't do it. You're too old. So it's really nice. When I looked at Tony after the 3rd one, he was smiling, and I think I even said, I've got 5 in me, like, hold on.
Kathy Freeman, whose daughter Ruby's a huge Matildas fan, celebrated with the players at full time. How good is that? And how good is the glitter strip as well? The Broncos will be touching down in just over 8 hours' time. We'll have all the pictures for you tomorrow night.
It is the place to be. All right, thank you, Alissa. Well, time to check finance now with Angela Cox. And Ange, our market hit an all-time high at one stage today.
That's right, better than expected results from Harvey Norman helped the ASX closing 38 points higher. Shares in the furniture retailer jumped after Jerry Harvey told investors he's confident of an extended rebound. Gains for JB Hi-Fi too. Bitcoin surged on worries about the US fiscal position. Iron ore prices still sliding, and new data confirmed the retail bounce back after a dip in December. Sales figures rose 1.1% in January as Australians Australians went shopping again. Consumers took advantage of discounting, with clothing and footwear, housing goods and department stores up most.
Thanks, Ange. Now to a report that might make you rethink your bedtime routine. Special devices fitted to almost 3,000 Australians have unlocked the secret to perfect sleep. And it all begins long before you hit the hay.
For Suzanne Courier, getting a good night's sleep can be a nightmare. She's tried just about everything.
A warm shower, reading, counting sheep. Doesn't work. When you're lying there and it's 3 a.m. and you still haven't had any sleep, that can be very frustrating.
Suzanne's not alone. Experts say that's because the secret to a good night's sleep begins well before bedtime.
We looked at the 24-hour day, and it seems that how we structure our day may influence how well we sleep at night.
Using special devices to monitor 1,400 adults and 1,200 children, Australian researchers have found exercise holds the key.
We think that physical activity has physiological changes, releases hormone serotonin, which has mood-boosting effects.
The higher intensity, the better. Just 20 minutes is enough at any time of day.
People who are more active seem to experience less tiredness, less troubled sleep, and have a better quality sleep.
Something young mum Nancy Mustragiacomo can relate to.
If I've had a busy day and my daily schedule was jam-packed with things, I find that I'm more exhausted and I want to go to sleep earlier, and therefore I do sleep better.
And the same works in reverse. In fact, going to bed early can be a curse by leading to poor sleep quality.
To do 20 minutes of vigorous exercise to get the benefit of being able to go to sleep quickly, I would definitely try it.
Ashley Kanowski, 7 News.
Cutting the cost of your power bill, the 10-second check, saving families money. Details ahead.
And a hot and stormy start to autumn on the way. I'll have the forecast coming up next.
It's the 10-second power bill check that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Tonight we can reveal how to make sure you're getting the best deal. Samantha Heathwood explains.
As electricity prices soar, the pressure is on power companies to tell you how you can save. The Australian Energy Regulator now requires every power bill to include information about your plan and if it's the best one for you. The quick 10-second check can save you hundreds of dollars a year, and right now it's worth making the switch. If you sign up to some Power Shop or Origin plans, you'll get $150 credit until March 12. Energy Australia is offering $100 credit if you make the switch, while you'll get $75 credit with AGL if you also sign up for gas. And Alinta is offering $50 credit if you haven't received any other credits in the past year. The only catch with all of these incentives, it's up to you to call and make sure you're getting the best deal.
Samantha Heathwood there. The best beer in the country has been found on the Sunshine Coast. Moffat Brewing Co. beat 600 other brews to win Grand Champion Beer for its Trilogy Best Coast IPA in the Royal Queensland Beer Awards. They say their secret is simple, keeping it fresh.
And cold, I reckon.
Yeah, it helps.
Weather now, Tony. Some pretty good conditions for working up a thirst.
Yes, Max, another hot and sunny day in the southeast to round out summer. Thirsty work if you've been outside, especially. This image from Kangaroo Point before the worst of that heat set in this morning. 23 overnight, then up to 31 degrees in Brisbane, and that now brings us to 60 consecutive nights at or above 20 degrees, breaking the previous record. I think we all know it's been hot and muggy for a while. Across the state today, not too much going on in the southern half of the state overall, except for a couple of storms bubbling away over the Granite Belt this afternoon. Heavy rain on the North Tropical Coast overnight. One spot near Innisfail picking up 239 millimetres, and still some heavy showers around Cairns in the late afternoon. Tomorrow, the heaviest rain and storms continue to contract into far northern parts of Queensland. More widespread activity over the Northern Territory. Elsewhere, unsettled weather also over New South Wales near a trough here, and we could see one or two of those cells pushing up into far southern parts of Queensland. Around the nation tomorrow for the first day of autumn, storms for Darwin, Broome and Alice Springs, and all dry and pretty quiet down south. Back to northern Queensland, storms contracting up towards Cape York Peninsula. That includes Weipa. Still the odd shower in Cairns, less likely in Townsville, but it should be dry most of the time on the east coast. Heading south, once again, Stanthorpe and the Granite Belt are most likely to see any storms, but they'll be few and far between. Staying hot, tops of 33 degrees for Gympie and Maryborough. Across the southeast, partly cloudy again, but that cloud should be a bit more, thinning out into the afternoon. We pick up the new season where we left off though, 21 up to 34 degrees in Ipswich. Then sea breezes keeping coastal locations closer to the 30-degree mark, 22 up to 30 in Sandgate and Manly. Boaties, a great morning to get out on the water. Light and variable winds to start, then the usual northeast sea breezes kick in the afternoon. In Brisbane for your Friday, mostly sunny, 22 up to 31 degrees. Pushing the crystal ball a little further, sunny and even hotter on Saturday, 33 the top. Make that 35 in Ipswich, then back to 32 on Sunday before some late storms roll in. On the Gold Coast, Saturday looking great for a trip to the beach. Most of Sunday should be okay before those late storms. And Sunshine Coasters, you should stay dry all weekend, then showers return on Monday with a gusty southeast change on the coast. Sharyn, Max, that's it for summer. Let's see what autumn brings.
Hopefully some cooler conditions. That would be nice. All right, thank you, Tony. Now, before we go, here's a look at special reports in 7 News tomorrow night.
In 7 News, the Southeast's petrol supercycle. Prices spiking more than 50 cents a litre.
Huge differences, and not just within suburbs, sometimes within streets.
The cheapest fuel at the touch of a button. And a health warning on makeup brushes affecting skin and eyes. The simple step to avoid it. 7 News at 6.
And that's all from us this Thursday.
Have a good night.
Good night.